Well, it is a busy eco data week for the Philippines next week. Pivotal data on jobs, growth, and inflation that could influence how voters choose their next political leaders in the midterm elections on May 12th. Well, with us now for more is Chief Economist Mike Ricafort of RCBC. So good to have you back, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's so nice to be back here, Kathy.
Yeah, so you just heard that conversation with Aaron. Pretty breaking news there, that we got a lot of levers as the conversations go between Jameson Greer and our own folks, Mr. Go as well as Ms. Roque. What do you make of it, of what she said?
Well, we have to also take cognizance of the fact that now the reciprocal tariffs, we'll see by early July if Trump, it's still, there are many variables involved. Trump has many decision points in the sense that he may keep it as is, status quo, the reciprocal tariffs, although he already signaled that he may not extend the pause, or he may do otherwise, either increase or decrease them depending on the negotiation. So
but
everybody
the 10%
else
is already ongoing, that baseline 10% tariff that every other trading partner is suffering from or having to face right now. What impact has that had so far in the months that's passed? I mean, it's already May 2nd, 30 days already passed.
Yeah, true. We have seen inflation numbers in the U.S., the PCE inflation. It's in line, well, some of them are flat month on month, and still among the lowest in like 4 years for the core PCE year on year. And the other inflation metrics, they have yet to really reflect the higher tariffs in the U.S. Maybe because the much expensive stocks, say from China and from elsewhere, they haven't really arrived at the ports yet. And it's still a wait and see, but and that's why the Fed officials are kind of tentative and cautious about it before cutting rates. You have to really give it a few more weeks or months and see if it would lead to higher inflation, because it would slow down not just the U.S. economy, which is the world's biggest economy, alongside with China, which is the second biggest economy. It would slow down everybody else. It's a lose-lose situation.
Slow down the economies of everyone else, but inflation moving higher. So the risk then is we're not facing inflationary pressures here. Are we ahead of the pack or not? I mean, how does that change your view with the Bangko Sentral saying that the April inflation estimate is between 1.3 and 2.1?
Ours, it would ease some more. It would go down. It would even slow down to 1.6% for the month of April. We'll see that data for the first week of May.
Well, what makes you say that? Is it food prices or is it the strengthening of the peso?
Actually, yeah, it's a combination. All systems go in the sense that we have relatively better weather conditions. There's still, because we're coming from a high base. Last year, it was the worst. We had El Nino, we had high world prices, and now everybody else improved. We have lower import tariffs on rice, 15% from 35% since early July, so that's an outright 20% discount. World prices of rice, the lowest in more than 3 years, since November of 2021. And we have seen oil prices also among the lowest in 4 years. So, and the strong peso, the strongest in 7.5 months. So, all systems go, all pointing to, and on top of the higher base effect, you have better weather conditions still, you have better output. That's manifested by, look at the price of the legs of tomatoes since February.
All systems go for who? For the Bangko Sentral to lower rates some more by about 50 basis points? I mean, how many are you going for?
Well, for June, it's possible to see another 25 basis points cut because our inflation is already below the inflation target of 2 to 4%. If it falls below that, that's already a signal that they really have to bring, there should be some healthy dose, so to speak. It may be ironical, but that's a policy. And
that they're inflation targeters, but there is no inflation. So are they going to be growth focused then,
True.
Considering that there are projections that growth may slow below 6%?
Yeah, definitely. That's policy in favor of growth, and they have all the leeway. Actually, they may cut. It's now also a function of the interest differentials with the U.S. with the Fed. Now the differential is 100 basis points. It's 5.5 for the BSP, 4.5 for the Fed. If the Fed cuts some more later this year, we're going to match it. And the tightest was more than more than a year ago. Latter part of 2023, it was 75 basis points. So we have the leeway. The local monetary authorities, they have all the leeway to cut.
We do, and that
rates.
enjoy that interest rate differential that you so talked about. But when you talk to voters, it really is jobs, and this is the last piece of data that's going to be released before the May 12th elections. Will it be a favorable set of data, not only for unemployment but underemployment?
Through so far, we have seen the jobs data, both unemployment and employment, among the best in 20 years since revised records started in 2005. And we're already down to 3% levels, and we're already moving in line with the more developed ASEAN and Asian countries. So compared to, say, a few years ago, it was like we're among the highest back then, like 6-7% alongside with the likes of Indonesia. Now, that's a factor for the voters. Jobs, prices, opportunities, we all feel that. So now, at least, those would be major considerations. And of course, the economy, the world economy, the challenges brought about by this, the reciprocal tariffs, by Trump's higher import tariffs, that's going to slow things up. That would be the biggest challenge. And there's a need to sandbag, so to speak, and prepare for all of these. And one way to do so is to cut interest rates. Actually, it has been on an easing cycle already since last year. A total of 100 basis points cut by both the Fed and the BSP. And, the biggest lead is still, the Fed, the official estimates by the Fed officials, they're going to cut 50 basis points this year, 50 basis points next year, and 25 basis points in 2027.
All right.
Total of 125 basis points. But that could be mitigated by the fact that, of course, there could be some initial spike in inflation. But definitely, if there's a slowdown in the U.S. economy with some risk of recession, and, even Trump is already pushing for lower rates by the Fed,
Okay.
and we'll all eventually move towards that direction if there's
I like
slowdown
what you
in-
said about sandbag operations, so that's what we're going to visually do. But thank you so much for the guidance, Mike, as always.
Yeah,
Mike
thank you so much,
Ricafort of
Kathy.
RCBC joining us in the studio.